Mounce, BBG, chapter 20, sentence 7. Starts off with this, sort of the way it declines is like a third declension. So hopefully you recognize that as a nominative plural from pas. So, the way you translate that, whether you do all men or all people or everybody, I'm good with all three of those. So you play that any way you like. What you do want to make sure, though, is that you have subject-verb agreement. So you come over here to the verb. You see that with that plural subject that you're going to be looking for a third plural ending, and guess what you have? So you're good there. The other thing that you want to recognize about the verb, though, is obviously you see pistuo, or I believe, but then you see this extra sigma. So hopefully you see that as will, as a future. And then third plural, so everybody or all people or all men will believe, right? Because once you see that sigma, you're looking to translate it as a future. Everybody will believe, and then you have this prepositional phrase in him. That's easy enough, right? So everybody will believe in him, or all men will believe in him. Whichever way you want to play that. And then you have your and. Then as you look kind of across, you see your subject here, and hopefully that's easy enough for you to recognize as Romans, right? And of course, Roman in Greek, you've got that rough breathing mark, so it's chromioi, right? But again, very clear that it's the subject, so you're going to pull that forward. And again, you're going to be looking for a third plural ending, which is what you have here. But again, that looks like a passive ending, right? And you say, well, okay, what verb am I dealing with? Well, if you spend some time with chapter 20, you'll see again that this is elusomai, which is actually the future stem of erkomai. Erkomai is the present, which is deponent, and then as soon as you recognize or memorize the future stem, you memorize that as elusomai, and you see that that's also deponent, so just that it's a future, and so that tells you you're going to translate this as a future, because again, it's from elusomai and third plural. So everyone will believe in him, or everybody, or all men, or all people, any way you want to translate this the Pontes, will believe in him, and the Romans will come. They will come. Okay, so again, future deponent, so that's why you have that passive ending. The Romans will come, and then you have this verb. It's another tough one. But hopefully you recognize, the easy piece is to say, well, okay, third plural ending here, so that's easy enough. Movable nu, that's easy enough. And that goes along with the Romans, and that works in terms of subject-verb agreement. That's easy enough. But what does it come from? And hopefully, again, this is another one with a stem change, but instead of being a radically different verb, this is one of the cases that Mounce talks about where you have what I would call sort of a missing iota. And what Mounce says is that, no, this is probably the truer stem, and then in the present stem, they actually added an iota to make it the present stem. So bottom line is you need to know both, and you need to know that very typically happens, that if a present stem has an iota, future stem will often simply be missing that iota. Whichever way you want to look at that's up to you, but bottom line here is that it is that future stem of iro, which would be alpha iota rho omicron, or omega, and as far as the first person present, okay, first person singular present. So here, the piece you really need to pay attention to, though, is I want you to hear yourself say I row, and the future stem are row, because as soon as you hear that row, you're dealing with a liquid. So again, you might be tempted to look at this as a present, but you see the absence of the iota. You see the presence of the rho, which tells you that you're dealing with a liquid. And the other hint that they give you is this circumflex accent. So you see that circumflex, you see this, and as long as you know that this is just minus the iota from the present stem, you know could go, well, okay, this the presence of the rho and the circumflex should be enough to tell me that it's a future, but also that there's that future stem change, whichever direction you're talking about. That tells you that it's a future stem. So from iro is I raise, I take up, or I take away. You know, and you got to memorize that. Yes, that's a fairly decent semantic range, but in this context, you may remember they're kind of talking out of fear. It's like, hey, everybody's going to believe in this guy, and the Romans will come and they'll take away our place or our land. Okay, so ton topon or place. In this case, you know, where we stay is kind of the idea in terms of the place, but the nu tells you it's the direct object. Hamon, obviously, first person plural, and it's genitive. So you've got possessive piece going on there. And the direct object clause here, the place of us or our place. So one more time, everybody will believe in him, and the Romans will come and will take away our place.